The twin towns of Curry, which are located about an hour and a half's drive north of Newcastle on the New South Wales coast, are truly beautiful places, and they're a favourite holiday destination for thousands and thousands of people each year. And they're beautiful by virtue of the fact that they're not only typical seaside country towns, but they are also located on the shores of Wallace Lake. Now, Wallace Lake is the northernmost lake in the string of lakes which starts effectively at Port Stephens, the Myall River, which we saw a week or two ago, then the Broadwater, then the Myall Lakes complex, then Smiths Lake, and then Wallace Lake. Now, Smiths, the Myall and Smiths and Wallace are not connected, but they're adjacent. They're very close together. And Foster is really a beautiful place to visit, and I've been visiting it for most of my life. Now, this is one of the premier oyster growing areas of New South Wales, and for the last 35 years, Graham Barclay, who was born in Foster, has been one of the state's most prominent oyster farmers. Graham has a huge installation and has oyster beds scattered right throughout the lakes there, and he also pioneered the technology of floating oyster trays, rather than the oyster trays being exposed at low tide and completely inundated at high tide. In Graham's system, the trays actually float and move up and down with the tide, and the oysters maintain a position about 3 inches below the water level. Now, that yields far healthier oysters, it yields a far lower attrition rate, and the oysters are truly delicious, as we found out when we actually sampled a few of them in the oyster sorting room and the opening room at the establishment at Foster. In fact, they had to use a stock whip to get me out of the room there. Now, Graham, as a boating man, he was an Australian water ski champion. Around about 20 years ago, he opened a marine retail centre in Foster, and at the end of December 1995, he opened a brand new marine centre on the southern end of Foster Township called Boatland. Now, this establishment was built right from scratch as a marine centre. It has a large showroom which has all of the chandlery items that you're likely to need, and a huge range of fishing gear. It also has an extremely well-equipped and very busy workshop, and it sells new and second-hand boats. Now, among the new boat franchises that Graham is proud to have is Seafarer, and we've covered the adventures of Seafarer over the last 3 or 4 years since Lindsay Fry first introduced his new technology boats at that time, and the story has really been quite remarkable. Every year they've won a Boat of the Year. On a couple of occasions they not only won Boat of the Year in their class, but also overall Boat of the Year. And the boat we're looking at today, driven by Graham Barclay and myself out of Boatland, Graham Barclay's Marine Centre, is the Seafarer Viva. Now, the Viva is an unusual little boat in some ways. The hull is the VC hull, and it won Boat of the Year in 1993. And Lindsay didn't really intend to build a runabout on the VC hull, but his dealer in Noumea specifically requested a runabout of this size. Lindsay built it for him. He started selling boats. The boats have sold all over Australia with great vigour, and in fact won Boat of the Year up to 5 metres in 1995, as well as overall Boat of the Year in 1995. So even when Lindsay doesn't intend to build a specific model of boat, he's able to build one, which again is an award winner. Now, as I said, the boat is based on the well-tried and proven VC hull. It has a centreline length of 5 metres, an overall length on the trailer, including the motor, of only 6 metres, maximum beam of 2.14 metres, weight 480 kilos, an overall height of 1.6 metres, the height on trailer is 1.9 metres, the dead rise angle is 19 degrees, and that 19-degree dead rise angle, by the way, has been tried and proven over many years by Seafarer. It has a maximum power of 90 horsepower, and its load capacity is 6 adults. Now, there's nothing particularly unusual about the Viva, except that it is a runabout, which is a general purpose runabout, which is based on the VC hull, and that basic runabout configuration is adaptable to a whole lot of particular uses. Now, with upwards of, say, 75 horsepower on the back, it would be a perfectly viable social ski boat, capable of pulling single skiers, a couple of single skiers out of deep water, with with the addition of some rod holders and maybe a live bait well and a bait tank down the after end of the boat. It would be a perfectly viable fair weather offshore fishing boat, and of course a superb estuary fishing boat. And with the addition of soft top and full-length covers, it becomes a very comfortable touring boat, and particularly an overnight camper. Now, traditionally powered by Johnson's, Seafarer dealers also power their boats, depending on their area and their franchise spread, with other brands of outboard motor. These boats are National Boat of the Year winners. They have a pedigree which goes back many, many years. In fact, Seafarer's Lindsay Fry's father, Doug Fry, was the first fiberglass boat manufacturer in Queensland at the end of the 50s, and Seafarers have been built steadily in their factory ever since. Now that's a record to be proud of indeed by any fiberglass boat manufacturer. There are only 2 or 3 manufacturers in the whole of the country who have been in business for anywhere near that period of time. So if you're looking for a mid-range, eminently trailable runabout, certainly comfortably trailable behind a large 4-cylinder car, and one which has all of the style of the latest model in Seafarers, all of the quality of the Seafarer build and finish, and particularly a tremendous amount of seaworthiness, and a boat that'll answer all of your needs, the Seafarer Viva is the way to go.